Women's Day. So first things first, I just wanted to wish all of you a beautiful National Women's Day. This morning I was reading 1 Thessalonians, and it talks about encouraging one another and building each other up, and I could not help but think about how much this community embodies that principle and how much it means to me that we are partnering together to build this community of women who are learning to live and love well together. And I have just met so many strong, amazing women who want to put a hot pink dent in this world for the kingdom of God, and I could not be more honored to be a part of it. So happy National Women's Day to all of you. It's just been a privilege to call many of you my friends. So thank you for that, and let's get started. So today we are going to be talking about putting the Erin Condren planner inside the Kikki planner. And I know it's Kikki K, and I know that that's Christina Carlson's nickname, but I'm going to call it Kikki about 80 more times in this video, so resist the urge to leave me that comment. I totally know, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm on a first name basis with my planners. This is Erin and this is Kikki, and today they are going to work together to create what I think is the most optimal life planner setup. So if you are ready for some glam planning, let's jump in. Now, before we actually get to the tutorial piece, I want to talk about 1, the supplies that we'll need to accomplish this, and 2, some pros and cons. I would hate if one of you cut into your planner and literally, sliced it and then regretted it, because I know if you're like me, you've put a lot of thought and time and energy into creating what has really become for me a small scale project life album. So this is my life planner, this is my scrapbook, this is my journal, my gratitude journal. It's become, a record of my life, and I would not want anyone to cut into it and go back and say, wow, I wish I hadn't done that. So I want to talk about pros and cons and then some solutions as well. So let's talk pros and cons. First, let's take the pros of the Erin Condren planner. So the first pro is quite literally a coil bound system is coiled, right? So at the end of the year, we have a nice coil bound book that is really a record of our lives. And one thing I couldn't get past is I love having my Erin Condren planner from 2012 and 2013 and 2014 coiled up. They're there for reference. They're there as a gratitude journal, a record of my life. And I can't imagine just binder clipping my pages at the end of the year. That's not, how I want to keep my old planners. So I actually purchased a plain binder it's just off Amazon. It's a plain A5 binder that is going to keep my pages at the end of the year. So this is a $20 binder. If you're like me, you might not see yourself, purchasing an $80 Kikki planner or Filofax planner just to keep your old pages. So this is an option, and we'll see at the end of the video, it's not ideal, but it is the best solution that I came up with for how to keep my pages at the end of the year. Because to me, this little binder is even better than having, a coil bound binder, because I can take things in and out. It's just optimal solution. So something to think about, what are you going to do with all of your pages at the end of the year? So that is a pro for the Erin Condren planner. The second pro for me is I like to flip over my pages and actually write in them like this. So I use my planner out on my desk so that half the week is showing, so that, I see half my week at a time. I don't see the whole thing. I can kind of keep my attention to detail and attention to the task at hand with just half the week. And as I've been playing with incorporating other elements of kind of scrapbooking and project life into my planner, like stamping, for example, I find myself taking the pages out of my Kikki planner and just, using them on their own, writing on them on their own, and then putting them back in the Kikki planner. So one thing to know is that I did order a dummy Erin Condren planner, as I've been calling it. I already went through this once. I wanted to work through any of the gotchas, do my research, figure out what works, what didn't work, and what solutions I can provide for you guys, because you know me, I'm type awesome. I made a pros and cons list. I kind of have let this ride for a few weeks to make sure that I had you know, done my research, because I don't want to advise you guys in a wrong direction when, you know, a lot of us have $80 Erin Condren planners and $80 Kikki planners, and I want you to make the best choice for your life. And I don't know what that is. I can just tell you kind of what my thoughts are, and, you know, you can take from there, of course. So that is another thing to consider, is I do miss kind of being able to fold over my planner like this. But, you know, you can take the pages out and put it back in. That's no big deal. The last thing that I know you guys are wondering about is, what about the covers? So if you're like me, you have Erin Condren planner covers for Christmas and New Year, or no, I don't have New Year's, Christmas and Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day and, you know, all of the holidays, Halloween. And then, you know, if you saw my last video, now there's Glambition covers, and which is what this is if you're wondering. And those are in the Glam shop. And, you know, what are we going to do with our covers? So while they won't be a coil bound cover, we can easily cut off the coil and hole punch them and just use them as a dashboard, or use them as a cover inside our A5 planners. So I think they're still salvageable, and I haven't found anything that's not interchangeable. I've gotten a lot of questions that are you still going to show ideas and techniques for a coil bound system? To me, whether you're using a coil bound system or a ring bound system, I haven't thought of anything that doesn't work together. So anything that works for a coil bound is also going to work for a ring bound. And if there's something that you guys can think of that's not the case after this tutorial, leave me a comment below and let's work through it together, or on the Paper and Glam planning page, because, you know, 100 or actually 1,000 minds are better than, you know, one mind. So, you know, let's work through it together. That's the beauty of living in community. So let's talk pros of Kikki. So quite obviously, I think this is a more buttoned up, professional look. I love the feel of the leather. I love that this planner is it's just put together. It doesn't feel loose. It doesn't feel like anything's gonna fall out. This is just, it's a more professional look. It is bigger, it is a little bulkier. That doesn't bother me. Very rarely do I take my planner out. I mainly work with my planner inside the house, and if I am taking it out, I don't think it's like laborious to carry around by any means. So something to think about. A pro or a con, depending on how you look at it, is the tabs do stick out, and I know that bothers a lot of people, and this is something that you have to think about. If you don't want the tabs to stick out, then you do have to punch inside the boxes. And if you're like me, deal breaker, I'm not punching inside the boxes. What if I want to put a Glambition sticker on it? Then I have to put the sticker on and take it out and punch it again, and that's the whole thing, and get line up the paper punch just right, and that's not going to work for me. I don't want anything inside the boxes. My top awesome says deals off, and, you know, that's just not going to work. So they are going to stick out more with my system, and if that doesn't work for you, then you may want to just slice your Erin Condren planner with a paper trimmer and punch the boxes, or excuse me, punch the holes inside the boxes so that the tabs don't stick out. But for me, I can't have the tabs sticking out. And also, when I use my planner, it's open on my desk, right? It's open like this. Very rarely do I, you know, need to like close it. By and large, like I said, I don't really take it around too much. When I do, I want it to look professional and buttoned up, but I don't need to, like, most of the time it's going to be like this, and I almost want to get like a stand to hold it like this. So just something to think about, though. I want you guys to have all of the information. So I think those are the main things, except for, you know, the obvious. When you have a ring bound system, you can take things in and out so easily. Granted, Erin Condren has the coil clips, and I think that's a great option, but it does bulk up your planner, and, you know, a ring bound system is just going to be easier for moving pages around. Simple as that. So those are the pros and cons to think about when you are deciding whether you want to do this, whether you want to use Erin Condren inserts essentially inside your Kikki planner or your Filofax planner. So next, let's talk about the supplies you need to accomplish this kind of moving your Erin Condren planner inside your Kikki. So the first thing you're going to need is a pair of pliers. So I've seen or heard ladies use wire cutters. I don't have wire cutters, and I thought a lot of you might not, so I think you can actually use your hand. I use pliers, so I would recommend a pair of pliers, but I think you could just use your hand if you wanted to. The next thing you're going to need is a trimmer. So you will need a paper trimmer. It's not going to be to cut the pages, though. It's going to be to cut the Avery sticker paper, which is how we're going to get around the punching the holes in the boxes. So I want to steal like an artist here and credit Lauren from Elhart's Designs, because because she is the first tutorial I saw, thanks to the ladies of the Kikki Facebook group, that didn't punch into the boxes. So I was on a mission to figure out how to get around punching the boxes, because like I said, that's not going to work for me. So she actually used her silhouette, and I don't have a silhouette, and I'm guessing many of you don't either, but I have the Avery sticker label paper because I have created DIY stickers, and I'm sure a lot of you have this laying around. If you don't, you can order some off Amazon, go to your local office supply store and get it, although you'll pay considerably more for it. I think it's like 10 bucks on Amazon, and it was actually almost 24 in the store. So you'll need some sticker paper, and then lastly, or actually there's two things here, but they're kind of the same thing. So you'll need an A5 punch and a single hole punch. So if you Google or, you know, Amazon a hole punch that works for an A5, so you can call it a A5 hole punch, you're going to see that mostly the Filofax punches come up, and they're almost $60. And for me, like, deals off, I'm not spending $60 on a punch. So I pinged Alexis and was like, sister, what's up with the punch situation? And she recommended this punch. This one's $20. It's from Japan. It works like a champ, and it's 20 bucks. So this was a win. Thank you, Alexis. Lastly, you'll need a single hole punch, and I don't know where this one's from. This is vintage. It's like at least 30 years old. I think it was my mom's growing up. It might have even been my grandma's. I don't know. So obviously this is perfect for me. I love it. So you just need a single hole punch, and I'm sure most of you have those in your house. So that is the pros and cons and the supplies that you'll need to accomplish this. If you want to stop the video and, you know, wait to go get some of those things before continuing, be my guest. Otherwise, grab a snack, because I'm sure we're going to be here for another 20 minutes. So let's take a peek at how the planner looks inside the Kikki K. So here's the first look at how the planner looks when it's open and punched. So as you can see, without cutting any of the planner, so when we uncoil this, you're going to see I'm not actually going to be cutting any of the page. So this is just straight out of the book. If you use this system, you will see that the holes go right up against the month, which is exactly what we want. So there's actually more room on the weekly view. So there's more, you'll actually cut off even more of your boxes, as you can see on the monthly view, than you will the weekly. So even losing no space at all in punching, it's gonna go like right up to the border. So something to think about, because if you do just cut down here, if you do just cut along here, cut the holes off and punch, I mean, you're gonna punch into your boxes on the weekly, but on the monthly, it's gonna be like way in there. So just something to think about. So that's why things stick out. Now, for me, it doesn't bother me tremendously. So as you can see, I have a cover in here. It doesn't bother me. I don't think that like this is really hard to snap. Like, was that terribly hard? No. Like, did I have to wrestle with it? No. Does it bend the tab a little bit? Yes, absolutely. But I mean, these tabs are laminate. They're resilient. I mean, it's going to train up a little bit, but I mean, for me, this is the best option. It's not a perfect system. These planners weren't made for each other, but for me, this works. So as you can see, I have literally everything from the Erin Condren planner, including the Forget-Me-Not calendar and the cover. So how I did the cover was I just cut off the coil bound part. So I uncoiled it and I cut this off, and then I punched it. So this is one of the beauties of letting it ride a little bit. So it looked great for a week or so, but then the laminate started to lift where I had punched. And this is maybe 3 weeks old now, so you know, it hasn't lifted too bad, but something to consider. I don't know why this laminate is lifting, because I have punched hundreds of things that I've laminated before and it does not lift. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe it was just this particular cover, and I'm going to try it on some of mine and let you guys know, but you do have a risk of lifting. Now, if you punch something that you laminated at, like, you know, yourself or at an office supply store, I don't think you're going to have this issue. I have never had it in the past. This could be an anomaly, but I wanted to give the disclaimer. I'm not sure why that's doing that. So the interchangeable covers thing, I don't quite have a solution for that I'm 100% happy with, but I'm going to keep trying until I have one. So this is how it looks. I have kept, you know, everything, and you know, the pages, it's tight. It's tighter than I would want it, but you know, this is everything. If you want to keep literally every single thing, including the labels and the back cover, which I don't see why I need a back cover, but you know, if you wanted to keep everything, it's totally manageable, and you know, you could do it. I'm not going to keep it like that. I'm going to show you how I'm going to keep mine, but this is just kind of for demonstration purposes. So now let's get into actually uncoiling the planner. So I'm going to set that over to the side here. The first thing we're going to want to do is rip off our covers. We don't need those on, and that's just going to get in the way. So let's do that. All right, so our covers are off. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to uncoil our planner. And I'm actually like a little scared right now because things could go perfect on a test run, but everyone knows that once you get to the big show, things can go a little awry. So I already did one side of the planner, and see how I have kept the coil almost perfectly perpendicular, because if you get this out of shape, it's going to be very difficult, or more difficult than it needs to be, to uncoil this. So the coil looks like this when it's coiled, and it hurts my hand to try to do this by hand. I think that if you got like a towel or something, you wouldn't have this issue, but I am going to try to replicate what I did on this side with my pliers. So it's a little bit hard behind the camera, but I'm going to try to do it. Okay, so the one, like we talked about, the one I did off camera is a little bit cleaner than the one I did on camera, although they're really close. So I'm going to coil, I'm going to send this side through and not the bottom side, because like I said, that one came a little bit cleaner. And now we're just going to roll. And I mean, it's really as simple as that. So I'm just like rolling it down, and see how it's coming out? Just rolling it down. And this takes a minute. We're not going to do the whole thing. Just keep rolling it down. Okay, that's a wrap. So we have the planner uncoiled. I don't see a reason to keep this coil. If you do, I know some people might want to keep it if they want to recoil this. I don't see that happening. I'm never going to spend time redoing that, and I'm tossing this. So the next thing I'm going to do is separate what I'm going to keep from what I am just going to recycle, because as we saw with the dummy planner that's already been done, it's bulky, and I don't want to keep everything in here to cut down on bulk and give me room to put other things inside my planner. So I am going to keep this gold fly leaf. I think it's gorgeous. I'm going to recycle this. It just says work hard, play hard. That's a little bit loud for my style. I don't see myself I don't use this calendar. So I am just going to have my first page be the resolutions, which you saw in my project life and planner setup video. And what I love is how gorgeous this is going to look with the fly leaf straight on top of that. I mean, smashing. So I am going to have this be the opening of my planner. So that is why I am not keeping the pages in between there. So next we're just going to go through and, you know, toss anything that we don't need. So I am going to toss my coil clipped lifeless. I don't see a need to keep those. Of course, I'm going to keep any pages and like little post-its and stuff. I'm going to keep it fully intact as it is. And I'm going to reprint the, you know, as you know, I have coil clipped Glambition sticker, or excuse me, Project Life cards in here. And I'm going to toss these because the beauty of buying the Glambition Project Life cards or stickers is, you know, once you have the file, you can print them, you know, to your heart's content. I don't need to keep these because these are not removable by any stretch of the word. Like, I'm going to rip that right off. If I even try to remove it, it's going to go right into the recycle. Of course, I'm going to keep all of the planner type essentials in here, and I'm going to skip ahead to the back because obviously I want the entire calendar. And so I'm going to toss this piece of note paper. Again, if I really need to look up a date in the future, I can just do that. I don't need to keep those. And again, I want to eliminate clutter and bulk. So the stickers, I'm going to just cut off the coil clipped portion and put them in the envelope where I keep all of my Erin Condren stickers. So this envelope is from the Container Store. It fits your stickers perfectly. So I have all my other event stickers in here, and what I'm going to do is just put all of these stickers with the rest of my stickers. I don't see a reason to to keep them in my planner. Keep it together folder. This is something that I am not going to use. I'll show you how to hole punch it, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the binder that I showed you at the beginning of the video, because the beauty of the Kikki planner is it has pockets, right? Like I don't need to keep the pocket. I don't need to keep it together because it's together. That's the point. So, I am going to show you how to punch this like I did this one that's already done, and it already looks great, so that if you want to just have a folder in the back of your kind of archived planner here, then that's what we can do. So I'm going to put it just right in here, and it looks great, and and I'm going to actually cut off the coil so it doesn't stick out. So that's my plan for the Keep It Together folder. The punch, or excuse me, the pouch. The pouch I punched, as you can see, so I just cut off the coil and I punched it, and it works great. So I'm going to do that same thing. I'm not going to keep the back cover in my planner, but I put it in here for demonstration purposes. So now that I have everything separated into 2 piles, the things that I am going to keep and the things that I am going to go ahead and toss, now we can start our mission of punching. All right. Okay, so the only thing I am going to cut inside my planner with my rotary paper trimmer is this fly leaf. So, but I want to show you, if you did want to cut the ringed portion off, just take your rotary paper trimmer, line up where the rings end, and just cut it right off. It's really as simple as that. So, and then you will have, I didn't get it quite perfect, of course, because it's on camera and I'm like behind the camera, but just cut it off. And then if you are like, you're going to want to get the pages, if you do cut and when you do punch, you're going to want to get the pages as close to exactly the same length and cut off exactly the same amount every time. So I'm lucky, and one of the many reasons this is the best trimmer that ever lived is the end of my cutting mat is the exact length of that I want to be cutting off. But if you don't have that luxury, just take a dry erase marker or even a Sharpie and just make yourself a little mark on your trimmer and then cut so that you are always cutting the exact same place every single time. Okay, now we're ready for our sticker paper. So grab your Avery shipping label paper and pull out a piece, and we're going to follow the same process for the Avery shipping label paper. So we are going to just line it up here, line it up so it's right even with the amount that we're going to want to be cutting. And in this case, if you can't see on camera, it's right about 1/4 inch. So what we're going to do now is just trim off strips of the sticker paper like this. So I'm going to do a bunch at once, and what I would actually recommend is getting 2 pieces of your Avery sticker paper or shipping label paper and cutting 2 at a time. And this is going to speed up the process tremendously, because what we're going to use these sticker labels for, if you haven't figured it out, is they're going to go over the coils. So what I recommend is you just trim 2 at a time, sit in front of the TV, slam out, about 300 of these, because that's how many you're going to need, and then you'll have some strips that are all perfectly 1/4 inch. And what we're going to do is we're going to be putting this sticker label paper over the coil. So do not cut the coils off, because then you're going to be inside your boxes when you punch. So we are going to be putting the sticker paper over the coils. So one drawback of this approach is that it does add bulk. Look at how kind of bulky the inside of my planner is, right? I'm actually going to reach out to the Erin Condren team and see what they think about offering the Erin Condren planner uncoiled, so we don't have to go through this again. But if for whatever reason they don't want to do that, just as a disclaimer, it does bulk up the side of your planner. And how I'm going to mitigate this is when I'm done with pages, like I don't need to have like January at a glance, right? Like that yesterday's newspaper. So there's nothing older than yesterday's newspaper. I'm going to put the pages that I've completed in this binder so that it really eliminates bulk. And maybe next year, I won't punch all the pages at one time so that I don't have that bulk. But I just wanted to see how it would look and how it would fit if you did that. So, it does create a little bit of a lopsided look, but it's really not bad. And once you put things inside your planner, I don't think it's going to be quite as noticeable. So Once you have all of your strips and you're ready to start peeling, I recommend doing this in assembly line, cut all your strips and then go to town. So the great thing about this Avery sticker paper is it's almost like the consistency of washi tape. It really is forgiving and it's cut on the back, so it's so easy to work with. You just are gonna peel it off just right like this. If you make a mistake, don't be afraid of it. You're going to be able to take it off and get it on there perfectly straight if you're type awesome. Don't worry about making a mistake. I highly recommend doing this though on a non-stick surface, which I am not right now. I did the dummy planner on top of my granite kitchen countertop and it worked like a champ. But what you're going to do is you're going to line up what you just cut with the holes, right? Like line it up as perfect as you can, and it's hard being behind the camera. And see, that's why you want to do it on non-stick surface, but I'm doing the best I can here. You won't be able to see unless I do it up against white because, you know, we're working on white. So as you can tell, we have a perfectly lined up piece of the sticker paper. So when you look at it, it's, you know, it's not even going to look like you're missing anything. So perfect. That's exactly what we want. And we're just going to, again, peel it right off. It's super easy to work with, and we're just going to follow the same technique, right? We're just going to put it right over where the coils are. And with the monthly view, it's easy because we can tell exactly where it needs to go. And don't worry too much about lining it up with the other side because you're not going to be able to tell. And intentionally, you know, I didn't get it perfect. As you can see, it's a little bit off. And don't worry about that. We don't care about that because we're going to come in here with scissors and cut off the excess next. So I recommend getting a pair of precision cut non-stick scissors, but I know that, you know, all of us have scissors, so I didn't, you know, include that in the supplies list, but I recommend these. These are my absolute holy grail of scissors. They work like a champion, and you're just gonna come in here and get it as close as you can and just snip away. So that is how your page is going to look when it's done. So you have a perfectly intact planner page that's ready to go. Now we're going to do that, you know, about 150 more times. I'm not going to do that on camera because I think you get the picture. So we are going to move on to punching. So now when you're punching the pages of your planner, you want to be very careful because if you kind of just punch it willy-nilly, like if you just kind of like stick it in here and like, well, that looks about right, chomp, you know, you're going to end up with jagged pages. So if you, oh my gosh, I just dropped some stuff, sorry guys. So if you want it to be, and I didn't do this quite perfectly, but it's pretty dang close. And how I achieved that was making sure that I punched in exactly the same place every time. Otherwise your pages are going to be totally wonky, and that is going to bother you if you're me. Maybe it doesn't bother you and you don't want to bother, you know, you just want to punch it and be my guest. But how I avoided having wonky pages is I put my sheet into the punch and then I flipped it over and I lined up perfectly this punch underneath the day. And that happens, so not the date, but the Wednesday, so the day of the week. And that happens to be the exact center. And how I was able to get it as straight as it was when it came out of the coil is you want to line it up exactly perfectly underneath the day. So you can see that is literally the exact center. So now that we know how to handle the pages of our planner, let's talk about the Keep It Together folder and the pouch. So we're going to follow much the same process. We're going to take, well, actually no, we're going to just trim off this coil. It's going to look strange if we put sticker paper over it, and it doesn't matter, right? Because these aren't the same size anyway. So we are going to do the same thing here. We're going to just line this up with the top of our trimmer and just trim right down. So I'm just going to do that, line it up and swipe. So as you can see, I have a perfectly clean straight line to add to my pouch. It doesn't rip through the pouch. It's perfect. It's still fully intact minus the coil. And we're just going to punch that. And there's no way to get this perfectly straight. Just eyeball it. It doesn't matter. It's clear. You're not going to be able to tell anyway. And, you know, it's not the same size, so who cares if it lines up. Don't worry about this. Just punch it. Eyeball it. So the Keep It Together folder we want to handle a little bit differently. So the Keep It Together folder is very thick. So we don't want to cut it at the full thing at the same time because it's not going to go through, right? And you're going to dull your trimmer. So what we're going to want to do is unfold it and just do the exact same thing, but do it one side at a time. Keep it together folder, we have a nice clean line, but it's not going to fit inside your punch. You're going to take one of the pages that you've already punched and put it on top of the keep it together folder so you know exactly where the holes are going to go. And then with a Sharpie, we're just going to come in and we're going to mark exactly where these holes need to be punched. Okay, so as you can see, I have little marks for where I want to punch my holes. So again, even with a single punch, you don't want to do the whole thing at one time. So you want to take the side that you marked and line it up with, and I'm just going to take off the back of my punch so that I can see exactly where I'm punching, exactly where that's going to come through, and I'm just going to line it up as close as I can in the center. If it's not perfect, it won't make a difference. I mean, get the dots as close as you can to the center, but if you don't get it perfect, don't worry about it. These are going to be a little bit tougher just because we're going to go through 2 lines of, or excuse me, weights here, but it still should be pretty easy to just punch those holes. So we didn't mark the other side and we didn't need to because now we have a guide, right? Now we can just come back in and get it as close as we can again and punch. Lastly, this is how we handle the covers. So these are thick laminate. We don't want to use our precision cut scissors or our rotary trimmer to trim these because it's going to dull and potentially ruin our trimmer and our precision cut scissors. So I'm taking my heavy duty kitchen scissors and I am just going to cut just right, cutting the coils off. So I know it's kind of hard to see, but you want it just to be as close as possible to where the laminate ends. Okay, so now we have nice clean edges. So you want to cut as much of the coil as you can without getting to the cover because you don't want to break the seal of the laminate. And I think that might have be what happened with the other cover that I showed you, that it lifted a little bit. I did the best I can, but I'm going to see if I have that same issue with this brand new spring gold edition spearmint cover that I got from Erin Condren. So, and then we're going to follow the exact same process we did for the keep it together folder. For length, I'm not going to do it, but just get a sheet of the planner paper that you already punched, get your Sharpie and come in with your single hole punch and punch your cover. So here's a first look at how my personal uncoiled and punched planner looks. So I'm just going to flip through it so you can get an idea of what I did and what you might want to do. So these are just the little bow paper clips that paper clips that I talked about doing a tutorial on, along with some other fun little page marker ideas. So as I mentioned, I just am going to keep the flyleaf that the Erin Condren comes with on top of my resolutions, which you saw in the January Life Planner setup video. I think this looks gorgeous and it really can keep me kind of focused on my ultimate goals for the year. So I'm not going to put a cover or a dashboard on it for now. That might change, but I'm really loving how that shines through with the gold polka dots. I think that that just couldn't have turned out better if I planned it. So as you can see, it's all punched and I think it looks great. I think it turned out well, and I just have this bow paper clip on the week we're on now, so that's this coming week. And yeah, I mean, it looks like what you would expect. There's the books that I've read this year and some goals for Paper and Glam. You know, just more of the note pages. These are my life lists, the monthly life lists. This is what I build them off of. And just notes pages for each of the months, which you have seen in previous videos and are in the Glam shop if you're interested. So I do have the notes page still in here from Kikki. Same with the one in the front as you saw. So yeah, I mean, I do think it looks great. I don't have any complaints. If you want to see how easily it closes, which I'm sure you do, here, let me take out this just so we can get a fair idea. So you know, it's tight. I have a pen in here and I intentionally did that. I don't typically write on my planner on the go, but I know that I saw on some of the boards that the pen loop made it not able to close. So I don't really think that's the case. I think that, you know, I think it closes fine even with a pen in there. Does it close easier without the pen? Yeah, of course. But I think that, you know, it closes fine either way. And so without the pen, just to give you an idea, you know, I think it closes fine. It does bend the June tab just like a taste, but I don't know, like that really doesn't bother me in the least. So I think this is all systems go, and yeah, I'm happy. Okay, well, I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that it was helpful for you. If there are any questions that I didn't answer, please leave me a comment, and in the next video, we will work through this. So the next few videos, I'm not sure exactly what order they'll be in, but there's going to be a DIY planner page marker video, and then there's going to be the monthly March Inside My Planner video. I'm not sure which will come first, but that's what we're kind of going to work on next. So I will answer any questions that you still have in the March Inside My Planner video. So the Erin Condren planner that I use, the dummy planner here, I am going to give away from the Paper and Glam Facebook page. So from now on, I'm going to be using the Paper and Glam Facebook page for any giveaways, because I really want to keep the blog, paperandglam.com, really content-based for all of the subscribers, which thank you for subscribing to Glam Mail. If you have, that means the world to me. But if you're like me, you know, you don't really care who won the giveaway unless it was you. But I know a lot of you want to see who won and congratulate the winners, which I appreciate. So that's all the giveaways are going to happen from the Paper and Glam Facebook page. I know that some of you couldn't find the giveaway, and I'm not sure why, because a couple hundred of you could find it and entered, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I'm not going to use the giveaway tab this time because I think that confused a few of you, or a large majority of you. I'm going to just do it straight from the Paper and Glam Facebook page. We're going to rock it old school. I used like a widget last time for the first time, and it's kind of like the gold standard of giveaway widgets, but yeah, it didn't work, which is fine. So it's just I'm gonna give it away from the Paper and Glam Facebook page. So hop on that page and I will give it away on St. Patrick's Day. And I will just pop it in the mail for you. And yeah, you'll have one that's already hole punched and ready to go. The second thing I wanted to chat with you guys about is I do have a P.O. box now. A lot of you have asked, you know, to send me things and just little care packages and little things that you saw that reminded you of me, and that means the world to me. Thank you so much. So I did set up a P.O. box, but you don't have to send me things by any means. Like, you guys helping me build this community means the world to me. The best thing you can do to support me is to like this video if you found it helpful, or even if you didn't, if you could tell I put a lot of work into it, just giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. I know there's a lot of you who don't subscribe to YouTube channels for whatever reason, but do watch. So subscribing and giving this video or my videos a thumbs up helps me reach more people and helps our community grow. Third, using hashtag Paper and Glam. So many people have reached out and said, wow, I love, you know, searching hashtag Paper and Glam. That's how I found you. And, you know, that's how other people can find us, and we can expand our community and learn from people. I mean, it means the world to me that I have, you know, people I consider friends now in the UK and Australia, and I know you guys do too. So a lot of you have gotten connected on the Paper and Glam planning Facebook group, which has been so much fun, and 2 of the women on the group actually organized a swap. So this is incredible. If you saw Alexis and I do our planner buddy swap, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, and we're inspired by that. So these 2 women actually put together a swap from the Paper and Glam planning page. So if you'd like to do something similar to what Alexis and I did, they have signups. There's people from Australia and UK, so if you're international, they've opened it up internationally and are going to try and pair people who are in the same country together. So I am so proud of the way that this community is growing, and just the innovation and the ideas that I get from it. I mean, I was talking to a lot of you at like 4 in the morning this morning about life lists and stuff, and so, you know, just get connected, help us grow together. That is really the best way that you can take care of me and take care of Paper and Glam. So I can't thank you guys enough for everything that you've done, and just how you have encouraged me and built me up, and just also had grace for me. I know that I was sick, and a lot of you were really excited about this tutorial, and I wasn't able to execute as planned. And you know, you guys know I'm all about execution, but I'm also about having grace for one another. So thank you for your grace for me. As I was kind of recovering, I didn't have any energy until Friday, and no one is more disappointed than I am when I can't honor my commitments. So thank you for all of that. Thank you for soldiering it out with me this entire tutorial if you are still watching, and I will be back with you guys soon. See ya.